Om Namo Bhagavate Ramakrishnaya. Salutations to Ramakrishna. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
And it's a rainy day. Back in LA, people celebrate even something like this. We hardly get rain, so I was delighted. We have a rainy day. So the topic today is Vedanta, its implications and possibilities. Vedanta. I'll clarify the ground meaning of Vedas. Veda is to know. It's not just a mass of literature of a particular class of people or sect of people or geographically delineated, but it's the oldest literature of humanity. And Veda, it's the same as jnana, knowledge. And we get the English word gnosis from there, jnana. Even knowledge comes from jnana, know. So this is the mass of literature, which, according to traditional sources, is more than 5,000 years old. Anta, Veda and Anta, that is the culmination, the final unfolding of knowledge, or the end of knowledge. What is that? That's a state. Whose state? A human being's state of existence. So we must not get into the idea that Vedanta is a philosophy, it's separate from me. No. It is integral in each and every living being. And it was this Vedanta, it was never a closed system. Sages and saints, they came and they kept the fundamental sacrosanct, but they experimented and pushed the barriers of Vedanta to newer and new areas. And that's the reason why we find the huge dialectical, you can say, part of Vedanta sometimes confounds people. Oh, it's like a kind of a PhD where you go to defend your thesis. Simple as that. If you have a thesis, you have a theory, you've got to defend it. And the dialectical method was used in India for a long time. That's why there are 10 schools of Vedanta with slight doctrinal differences, but they generally fall into the three broad areas of dualism, qualified non-dualism, and non-dualism. Generally, when we speak of Vedanta, it is actually just Advaita Vedanta, non-dual Vedanta. No, the other schools also are there. There's a kind of a glamour about non-dualism. Obviously. You don't have to do anything. Yeah. But you need to give up things. And you've got to give up first your identity that you've built up. So it becomes very difficult. I'm real, the whole world is unreal. In India we say, it's called a Punjabi Vedanta. It's called a Punjabi Vedanta, like, hey. In Hindi they say, Jagat teen kaal mein hai nahi. The universe does not exist in the three periods of time. However, get my garam roti, get my hot, chapatis. That is real for me. So this Vedanta has been kind of dominant, the three schools, in India, thousands of years. It has molded each and every aspect of spiritual life. And the spiritual life was the basis of cultural life, or educational life, or all life, rather. We'll go into some of the implications why Vedanta is kind of becoming relevant today, as well as what are the possibilities, how this life of Vedanta can change the world. First is individual and social problems are becoming immense. These old theories, however sweet they may be, they are inadequate. That's the reason why we need some philosophy that's universal in its extent. Because today, individual life has become kind of you know and I know, it's very difficult to articulate, but it's come, the struggles are terrible. And that is being reflected out in the society. Everything looks fine on the surface, but dig down deep and you'll find that kind of monstrosity. As human species, however, this generation is bold to dream and dare. Not in the old sense of, this is mine, this is my right and all these things. We used to use muscle power. It's the possibility that we can do immense things. And that is spurring people of all walks of life into thinking big and thinking things which even our ancestors would have been frightened. How can these people think about all these things? So you can say that is a hallmark of our species. The rise and spread of knowledge is tremendous. And all religions are feeling the heat. And they try to safeguard themselves by becoming fanatical. Here, Vedanta can fulfill all other limited views of religion. It kind of fulfills all philosophies and all religious doctrines. It does not come to demolish. And that has been its history for thousands of years. It has never demolished anything except wrong knowledge in the dialectical, you can say, literature, wrong reasoning, beliefs. Vedanta is not a belief system. It's an experiential system. And that's the reason why they said the highest experience possible to a human being is Advaita Vedanta, where the person thinks, I am the universe. This is the highest state. Yes, how many of us can think, I am the universe? Ooh. Maybe you can write a few songs, or maybe you can do something, or write poetry. But it's an experience where you can feel, yes, this is, and it needs a kind of a long preparation. We are kind of heading towards a new type of a global civilization. No longer all separate civilizations. My civilization, the oldest or the youngest or is the best. That's going to go out. We see it everywhere. And especially in New York, it's kind of a microcosm of the whole world. It's wonderful to see people out here. This is a kind of a global civilization that's rising slowly. And the basis will be scientific knowledge, not a belief system. A belief is going to be experiential. You got to know, and it can be reduplicated by everyone around. So before we can really go into the fundamentals of Vedanta, its implications that is. For so long, we have tried to build cultures and societies on the basis of markets or wealth. You see, this country has got such a big GDP. And that country is understood by the terms of its GDP, gross domestic product. But what about the hundreds of other things that are there in that particular society? They don't count. So the index we have used for societies for so long has been wealth and scientific knowledge, creature comforts, or a high level of education, something like that. And all of us have been at each other's throats for thousands of years. India had tried to build a civilization or a society based on the higher mind. This is called superconsciousness. Even Hindus do not know, Vedantins do not know this. No, the basis of your life, my life, and social life, and every type of life is the reality of your own superconsciousness. There is an aspect within you which you have not tapped, you have not opened, you are unaware. And that is the basis of society. That is kind of permanent. And people who realized that state were called rishis, and they did it through yoga, and they protected the treasury of religion, passed it down to the next generation, and the goal of human life was freedom, moksha. Yes, it's only when you can have the super mind or super consciousness as the basis of your society can you have something called moksha. Otherwise, it's not just possible. So this was ingrained. Every life has to be free. You get one chance, you might get a second chance, a third chance, fourth chance. You don't learn your lessons, keep on coming back till you attain that state, which is your real state. And that's the reason why Vedanta, if you say the survival of the fittest, if it is true, Vedanta has survived for all these years. Yes, it's an amazing principle. Because it is imperishable. Your real nature is imperishable. Today a huge meteorite will come and smash everything up, like we had a couple of times before in our long history. So what is that to you? This society or this country or that country? It's nothing. So we need to build on something solid. And that solid is that superconscious, your very soul. So the soul, your individual soul, is the basis of religion and culture of the Vedanta. Not any deity, not any belief system, not arms, not money, not wealth, no fame, name, nothing. So this was the plan. India was trying to push its people towards that. But you know how things are. There was a time Vedanta never spread its real influence because it was meant for the specialists, monks and kind of pandits. They could devote their part of their life to study and culture of this knowledge. So it was kind of inclusive, just us. Why can't we give it to everybody? Oh, they are not ready yet. But Swami Vivekananda came and broke open this. Everybody is eligible for Vedanta. If it is your own soul That's the basis of Vedanta. All of us have a soul, and all of us should know what our soul is. So he threw the gates open. So we need to take the salient points of Vedanta as lived by Swami Vivekananda or Holy Mother or Ramakrishna. We don't need to go through a long course of studies, all that. Take this thing. And what is that? It's Tattvamasi. You are that. Yeah, I am that. Yes, you are that. But what about that temple and that church and that synagogue and that? No. Vedanta brings everything down back to you. Here you are. You start here. Where do I reach? Reach within yourself. Because all the secrets, all the truths of the universe are there within you. And that is the, you can say, the starting point of your search, your own self. So everybody is eligible for this. You don't need to become specialist. Everybody knows their own selves. We have, for the last 2000 or more than that, most of these wars that have been fought in the world, half of them have the basis of religious fanaticism. And it has been, instead of binding people, it has divided people. It has made lives miserable. It has wrecked countries and economies and lives and women and children and all. Why should religion, which is supposed to raise you, can be so destructive? Yes, that is here. And science has been pushing its, you can say, its discoveries into the realm of religion more and more. So Swami Vivekananda says, science is a search for truth in the external world. Religion is a search for truth in the internal world. And there is no absolute demarcation between internal and external. There will come a time when both will have to commingle, both will have to combine. It is truth that we are searching for. It's just a different type of, you can say, orientation, external. So that science and religion and all these things which were kind of at loggerheads, well, that is over. Vedanta accepts every aspect of the search for truth. If you are a sincere seeker of truth, well, you find a place in Vedanta. And then we have something also called, how do we know? How do we know? We refer this to this and this to this. We refer one thing to the other. It's called a deductive and inductive. Higher and higher generalization. We take this mic and it's, okay, fine. It's related to the loudspeakers and it's related to the hall and the people. You know, you can go from the particular to the general, to the higher generalizations, and higher till we come to the universal. Similarly, from the universal, we can come down to the particular. So the particular has to be referred to the universal and the general. And that, so all knowledge kind of refers to something else, always. Yeah, we have males and females, yes, but then they're human beings, they're families and communities. And then we have countries. And then we have the higher, all life, all existence. Every life that's there also has to be included with our lives. And then higher generalization will be where even all the, if there are gods and all, they too will have to be included in that. So it's, so this process of referring things, one thing to the other. No knowledge is independent. You try it out. You have to refer this thing to this thing. It's always. So these two processes are there. And then the explanation of a particular thing has to come from the very nature of the thing, of an object. You have to study it, saying, oh, there's a kind of meteorite. Oh, that some ghost must have thrown it up from there. No. You don't. You study the meteorite and you know from where it has come. So knowledge comes from the very nature of that object. So when we take this, you are that, you keep on referring yourself to higher and higher and higher generalizations, you feel you're part of this whole. And when we try to discover your own self, you'll find, oh, beneath all those layers is my real self. I don't need a book of Vedanta or books of Vedanta or any scriptures as a proof of my existence. I am the proof of these books. Vedanta says, you are the proof of all the prophets and all the books. But we kind of switched over. They are my proof. What's God? You are the proof of everything that's in spirituality. So it takes the human soul and gives it a tremendous kind of status, divine status. And Swami Vivekananda says, my work is nothing but to preach unto humanity its divinity and how to make it manifest in every movement of life. This is what it is. This is the core of Vedanta. You don't need to study huge books. In fact, Sri Ramakrishna, his disciples, he said, sir, have you read Panchadashi? And the person who sees through day and night, you ask him, sir, have you read anything, books about Panchadashi? Books on Vedanta. Truth there is palpable. That person does not need to read books. We are like that, those donkeys with a lot of books on our shoulders, and we're going around. And we know how heavy the books are. There's an old Sanskrit, I can say, saying, like, we know the weight of those books, but we don't know the value of those books. So the backdrop of this whole process has been, see, yesterday we had gone for the Metropolitan Museum, kind of. We seen that show at that planetarium. Mind-blowing. Somebody asked me, how do you like it? Saying, yeah, I was seeing God. People are seeing this, something like this kind of knowledge that was presented to us. No religion can even stand up there. What religion can harmonize this kind of knowledge with its old doctrines? There's nothing. It's not possible. It showed what Vedanta was teaching all along. That creation is eternal. If there is a creator who is eternal, creation ought to be eternal. And that's what we see. In the immensity. We can't even imagine the immensity of. Well, finally humanity is understanding its cognates, you can say where it is situated in this long cosmic evolution of 13.8 billion years and the biological evolution of 4 or 5 billion years, 4 billion. We know exactly where we are. And we are in a unique position to carry forward this search. Why is all this search? It's actually the search for your own self. Only people have been telling you, you are such a tiny being. You're crushed easily by every circumstance. When you're told that your real self is even vaster than this universe, all the energy will come into you. No longer you will talk about post-traumatic stress disorder. I was in the battlefield for 40 years ago and still suffering from. What kind of mind is this? Fragile. I'm suffering from depression and anxiety. What? Throw it off. Vedanta tells you that you have a dimension which is extremely strong, powerful. What is all this child's play? I'm suffering from this and suffering from that. You are holding on to that. You're babying that suffering and say, I'm suffering. Let go. Understand you're higher. So we are, like I said, we are in a very unique position. That responsibility has been now given to us by nature. We'll have to protect ourselves, protect this world, because with every increase of knowledge comes the increase of responsibility. We are responsible for each and every life, not only human life, every life. And we are seeing people becoming aware of it. Yeah, we need to protect this environment, protect the species, protect the planet. If there's no planet, there's no us. Oh, the planet might be there, but we might go off before we can go somewhere else. So this kind of responsibility is coming to us, and it will be Vedanta who will be able to show you, here you are, and this is what you need to do. Well, so much for the implications. We have also been, like I said, for the last a few thousand years, been solely engaged with acquisitions and more acquisitions. The very basis of Vedanta is to let go. If you acquire friends, if you acquire love, that is a bigger kind of acquisition. Go in for those higher and higher values that human life can express. Not those cheap kind of acquisitions. I have got 2 cars, I'll get another 3rd car. What's that? All those acquisitions are actually bondages. Vedanta is trying to free you from these kind of pettiness. If you have to love the whole world, go. And see, if you have to be unselfish, become unselfish. What's the limit? The whole universe. Go. Become unselfish. Oh, this is kind of my selfishness or unselfishness is dictated by my genetics. Only my relatives or my friends or my. So, this Vedanta is kind of, sometimes you feel, you take a book and say, what are these kind of intricate thoughts? And sometimes you get bewildered. Oof, that's not meant for me, you'll say. But Swami Vivekananda says this Vedanta was practical first, experiential first, and then philosophical next. Philosophy comes next. Every experience comes before you can interpret that. So the highest experience, like I said, of Vedanta is I am this universe. And so this was experience, it is practical. Whether Vedanta is practical or no, in this age, it is intensely practical. And yet it is high enough to be an ideal. If you have an impossible ideal, that will not do, which cannot be articulated, which cannot be experienced. So you have a high ideal along with its immense practicality. We generally tend to compartmentalize our lives. My working identity, my kind of religious identity, my social identity, my life is compartmentalized. Vedanta says, don't do that. Don't compartmentalize your life. You break down the compartments and you see you are becoming a better and better person. You will be the same like you are here, in your office, and when you're on the road, anywhere. That is the starting point. So it's practical. It can start with oneself right now. Break your own barriers. So, should we meditate? Oh, you want meditation? You can meditate. Nobody's going to stop you from meditating. But the most intensest, the most sublime parts of Vedanta was given by these kings who were, during the time of absolute monarchy, they ruled kingdoms, and yet they had the time to think out all these thoughts and teach it to the people. Yes, in fact, Vedanta, Swami Vivekananda says, was preached more by these kings and princes than anyone else. Everyone else were kind of selfish. I'll keep this knowledge for myself, or my disciples or my children. I'm not going to give it to you. No. So here it is, whether, we are working whole day and we are so busy, can we take up this philosophy? Yes, you can take up this philosophy. The Vedanta says it preaches a God, preaches truth or reality. So where do we need to go? We don't need to go anywhere. It preaches a known God. Well, it doesn't preach an unknown God. Where is that known God? There within your own self. What is better known than you? You can understand the line of arguments. It throws everything on the person there. So, here we are, it's a known God. Really? But should we go to heaven or should we go to hell to see God? No, you don't need to go anywhere else. So, if you're going to preach an unknown God, you're going to get into trouble. So Vedanta clarified it. We are preaching something which is known, which has been known for thousands and thousands of years. And that is you, Tattvamasi. You are that. So the highest aspects of Vedanta is where God is the sum total of all personalities. When we talk about a personal God, not the one with a long beard and kind of flowing hair and flowing robes and a kind of a scepter in his hand and this and that. Vedanta will dismiss that. Saying the personal God is the sum total of all souls in the universe. That is the personal God. So, all our hands and feet actually belong to that God. Sarvata panipadam tat sarvato kshishiro mukam sarvata shrutimalloko sarvam avrityati. That truth, that God is within us and without us, inside, outside. And everything is His body. So why do you need to go to this temple or that temple? You'll get it there also, but you get it better if you understand that I am a part of God. Or I am a part of the reality. It will change your worldview. No longer will you criticize others. No longer will you demean others. No longer will you hurt others in any way. And Swami Vivekananda says, what is the better thing? Gods will be playing with gods. Yeah. Yes, this is not just a kind of figment of imagination. This has been experienced. Where will you go? Here it is. Swami Vivekananda one time, he was sitting down under his favorite mango tree and one of his brother disciples, Swami Premananda, he was going to the temple to worship. And Swami Vivekananda said, where are you going to worship? Here is it, Brahman. And for that moment, and those who were with him, standing around him, the veils from their mind fell off and they actually saw that reality. And then, as I said, the minds again came down and Swami said, now go and finish your worship. He gave them that experience of a known God. This is what it is. So we don't need to go to any galaxies or anything. We don't need to go anywhere for truth. If it is not there within you, it's not anywhere. If it is there, everyone is a part of it. So that personal God is a sum total of all. It's a known God. Here we are. So how do we go about it? They say there are two tendencies in the human mind. One is to have something comfortable, make religion comfortable. And people say, is this religion comfortable? Well, no, it's not comfortable, sure. It'll take you out of your comfort zone. People, come out of your comfort zone. Yeah, I like that phrase. Come out of your comfort zone. Yeah. We either pull the ideal down to our level, or raise ourselves up to the ideal. This is what Vedanta prescribes. Otherwise, you will be a mass of contradictions. You will constantly try to compromise. That's what you will do. Yes, I know stealing is a sin, but I see this iPhone here. What do I do about it? Stealing is a sin. I steal it and then go down and tell somebody. You see, I found a kind of iPhone there, but I know stealing is a sin, but I couldn't help myself. I go and confess. And we think we are absolved. Oh, we're just deluding ourselves. It's better to raise yourself to the ideal, and this is what Vedanta prescribes. Raise yourself up. You have all the power within you. Don't go for this kind of compromise. This whole world should be like what I feel it should be. I've got a few bunch of fantasies in my head, and I say, yes, I don't know why people don't behave like this. I've got a nice standard in a rule. If I measure, this guy is hopeless. Why? It doesn't fit into my world. There. So we have been misreading this universe, people and the intentions, for n number of years and n number of thousands of years rather. Why can't we raise ourselves? And this is what is morality. This is what is ethics. This is what is spirituality. Keep on raising yourself. And the idea is that you are divine. Hold on to that idea. That there's a divine spark within me. And that has to be actualized. That's all. Why should a God behave like a human being? Popularly we say that in a human body there are three entities. One is the demon, one is the human, and one is the God inside. Yeah. So be a God. So this God is behaving sometimes like a demon, sometimes like a human being. What's this? And Swami Vivekananda was very clear. It's mistakenly that God is called a human being. There is that divinity within each and every one of us that makes us gods. Gods, goddesses, kind of. No distinctions there. Okay. If we can understand this, our lives will become expansive. That is the idea of divinity. No longer will you think, this is mine and this is yours. Once Lakshmana, the brother of Rama was an incarnation of God, kind of. And Lakshmana asked, what is this Maya? Everybody talks about it. Maya, Maya. This is Maya, this is Maya. Oh. Me and mine, you and yours is Maya. We have separated ourselves from the whole. We don't feel ourselves to be part of the whole. Once this goes off, there, you become free. And that's why it talks about this I and not I. Vedanta is kind of non-dualistic. So what is it? Love and hate No. Good and bad? No. Joy and sorrow? No. Saying when this love congeals or is kind of contracted, it becomes hideous, it becomes me and mine. When it expands, it takes in you and yours also. So when it is contracted, it becomes bad. Hate, anger, all the injustice, and all these things come out from the contraction of this one universal love. So the moment you expand it, it becomes good, it becomes love, it becomes life, and it becomes energy, it becomes everything, joy. So we need to, and who does that? It's our own sense of individuality. We feel that it's so fragile, it has to be protected. You don't need to. It's not so fragile. Only thing you cannot find where exactly it is. Try to ask somebody, this I that you are feeling need to be protected, where exactly is that? I'm sure they won't find it. That's what Vedanta says. That itself is an illusion. You are living on an illusion. You've built your whole worldview on an illusion. Why do you do that? Why don't you take truth? And there you will become free. I hope to carry forward this. I'll give what Vedanta will give. I'm not going to sugarcoat my, you can say, what Vedanta says. I will say. See, in dualistic worship, you have a deity outside you. It's called as a symbol or an image. That's okay. If those who want to worship this kind of image outside, do keep on doing it. The higher symbol, Vedanta says, is the human soul. The human body itself is a temple of God. Why do you need a symbol or an image? And a better symbol, this whole universe is a symbol of God. Take it like that. So here you are, your worship becomes continuous. Whatever you say, you do, and think becomes a worship. Once you know that you and everyone else are symbols of that reality of God and the whole universe, you don't need to go anywhere else to worship. Vedanta speaks about the personality of God also as the sum total. It also speaks about the impersonality of God. God, truth, has to be impersonal. Even that is a limitation. So there is one aspect of Vedanta which is called the manifested Brahman. And there are higher, you can say, aspects which is called the unmanifest. In the highest states of experience, where the I dissolves and the you dissolves and everything else, this world dissolves and we go to a higher realm, the impersonal. That impersonal comes down to us to time, space and causation and becomes this manifested world. So this truth is not just exhausted by this universe. Oh, this manifested universe, 13.7 billion years, fine. We understand this. No. If truth is eternal, it has to be even beyond all manifestations. And that is what Vedanta say. That is the final kind of goal. So, when we are talking about Vedanta, yesterday I was talking to somebody, why is Vedanta not spreading here? Who will want to take this kind of, it's only for the brave who will take it up. It's true. Who really can stand on their own feet and say, yes, I am that truth. But Swami Vivekananda says, Vedanta saved India 2 times. Once by the Buddha, when the ritualism and all the doctrinal differences had grown up so vast. Something had to come and cut everything down. And the Buddha preached Vedanta. Later on, we call it the Buddhism. All that. But Buddha was a monk of the Vedanta sect. Yeah. The second time Vedanta saved India was at the time of Shankaracharya. So it has saved India 2 times. This is the 3rd time. And the field is not India anymore. It's the world. And it is Vivekananda who has come. So we need to have the heart of a Buddha, the intellect of Shankaracharya, and the power of Vivekananda. And if you have this combination, tremendous. Swami Vivekananda says, it, that is Vedanta, comes whenever religion seems to disappear and irreligion seems to prevail. That is why it's taking root in all countries which are we are seeing development. It is true. We will grow into Vedanta. We cannot help it. It has to be there. In one of his famous lectures, Is Vedanta the Future Religion, in Oakland, in California, he says, is Vedanta? It's not going to be imposed upon you. Vedanta will not do that. Nobody is going to catch you. You better be a Vedantin or you're going to go to hell. Okay? Nobody is going to. We all are going to grow. As we keep on growing, we will grow into Vedanta. That is what is coming. All the limited ideas of Godhead, all the limited ideas of the universe and human beings. See, if you have a limited idea of a human being, you will have a limited idea of a Godhead and a limited idea of the universe. All these 3 are linked. You know? The soul, God, and the universe. It's a triad. You have a limited idea of a human being, you will have a limited idea of the universe and God. You make this human soul infinite, you will have to make God also infinite. You will have to make this manifested universe also infinite. So this is what humanity is going towards. All that exclusive privileges that religion conferred on a particular set of people, that's going to go. You are nothing special. You are part of this whole human race. And we need to lift ourselves to this knowledge. No exclusiveness, no privileges, and Vedanta will be there. To come back to how I started, it is your own experiences that's leading you towards higher and higher experiences. We never have the same experience 2 times. It's like, we never see the same river twice, but we see the Hudson flowing. Oh, you've seen the Hudson? No? Yeah, you've seen. Oh, you all have seen. But you don't see the same Hudson. How many Hudsons are there? No. The water has flowed. The river appears as if it's there. So all our experiences are never the same. You do the same thing, but your experience of that is different. And these experiences are leading you higher and higher and higher. This is what is human life, and this is what is human growth. We are all growing into Vedanta. And Vedanta will be ready and waiting. Now you can come to me. Yes. You finished off all your pettiness. You finished off all your illusions. Now, come. This will come. Because, like I said, humanity is now brave to dream and dare. Yes. Take it up and see how you can change the whole universe. Me? I can change the universe? Yes, you are the universe. All that pettiness or the smallness and all the narrowness which is there in your life will go. And that is what is one of the highest experiences. Swami Vivekananda, I'll read that because it's so profound. The highest experience of Vedanta comes like this. In whom is the universe, who is in the universe, who is the universe. In whom is the soul, who is in the soul, who is the soul of man. Knowing him, and therefore the universe as a self, alone extinguishes all fear, brings an end to misery, and leads to infinite freedom. There's a long quote, but it's a part of it. This is what it is. In whom is the universe, who is in the universe, who is the universe. In whom is the soul, who is in the soul, who is the soul of man. Knowing him, that, and the universe as ourself. This is what it is. The universe is our own self. Alone will extinguish all fear. Wherever there's a fear, know that there's a duality. When there's no duality, what do you fear from whom? Yes. But, like I said, either today or tomorrow, after a year, after maybe 10 years, or maybe after a lifetime, we'll have to come down to this truth. And the sooner you do it, the better. If you wait, but there is no kind of other way for humanity. It will have to grow into this vast experiential knowledge. Let me conclude by saying that Vedanta is not a philosophy separate from you. It is your own philosophy. Let it be the philosophy of your life. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.
Good morning, Swamiji. Thank you for the lecture. I had a question about the difference between, basically at the absolute level we say that everything is Brahman, but from a dualistic perspective there are terms such as Paramhansa, Avdhut and Avatar. What is the difference between these three for the mind to understand?
Yes, there will be always differences in the sense of nomenclature. But these nomenclatures, these names are not final or eternal. That truth is eternal. These are, what you're talking about is a different category. These are grades of spiritual, you can say, realization. And different traditions have spoken to them as, in the Vedanta we call them as Paramhansa. The highest of the monks, a class of people called monks. And amongst them, amongst the Paramahamsas, the best, the highest, was the son of Vyasa called Shuka. So he is an ideal Paramahamsa. So, and Avadhuta, yes, we have these Avadhutas also in different traditions, they're called. So these are the people who constantly, they see that reality, experience that reality. They don't experience that this world as it is. Okay? So that's why these are the people like Tom, Dick and Harry will not experience this world as the reality, as what it is really is. But these people can, and they do. Sometimes I wonder, Swami Vivekananda came here in 1894 in New York, and my God, sometimes it's kind of frightening how he could go around and preach. He was in the state of a Paramahamsa. Yes. And he was looked upon as a kind of ordinary human being. Yeah. And but it's very difficult for such people, Paramahamsas. Hamsa is a kind of a swan. A swan can separate like the milk from the water. They've kind of probably they've got an acidic tongue, and when they drink, they can separate the milk from the water. Okay. So they have separated the illusion from the real. They are called, and these are the highest of these swans. It's not just swan. Swan is a symbol of that. So it implies that these people have separated the real from the illusion. And they see the real, while we see the illusion. Not illusion in the sense of it's just completely like we sometimes see that like a mirage. We see a mirage. The mirage itself is an illusion. It's a mirage, of course. But the conditions that gave rise to the mirage are different. They are real. Okay? So we don't see those things. The hot and cold layers and the water being reflected and refracted from a distance. We see only the mirage, the water. Oh, there. So these people see the totality. They see the whole thing. And so to attain the state of a Paramahamsa, yes, well. But like I said, you start now. Yeah. What's wrong with that? You've got to start at some point. Yeah. And so, people think religion is kind of so depressing, and you put a long face and go around and think yourself religious, and people say, oh, he's a religious person. No, religion is a very joyous pursuit. It should make one happy. It should not make one frown and curse and demand. No. A practice of religion should free you. So that's why it's a joyous pursuit. It's a pursuit that one goes with a kind of with a happy heart. So you want to be happy? Become religious in the true sense of the term. Yeah. People say, oh, Swami, how do I get happy? How do I become happy? Yeah, become religious. Too much worldliness in you. And then what happens, once you're happy, then you see your actions and everything becomes different. So you'll become unselfish, you'll become loving, you'll become kind, you'll become compassionate. You always have something.
So Swami, going to the thought of the practice of religious pursuit should be joyful and happy.
Yes.
Yet there's a lot of discipline that is imposed on the practice of religious pursuit.
Yeah.
Can we make our own rules about practicing religious pursuit?
Suppose you are inducted in the army and say, I want to make my own rules. That won't do. You will have to get kicked around by the sergeant, and he'll shout and scream at you. That sergeant is going to change you. It's like, we are actually not careful. If you can be very careful, become aware of things around you, that itself kind of restrains your useless talk or criticism on all these things. That awareness, your own awareness will restrain you. If you have that, then you can make your own rules. But you need to become aware that of you and of all the surroundings also. That this person also feels pleasure and pain like I do, or that person is a divinity, or whole of creation is divine. If you are aware of this, you can make your own rules. It's just that the rule is in Vedanta to go inside. And I have spoken about that super consciousness. That's your basis. But you have made the conscious mind and subconscious mind the basis of your existence. And that's why all the trouble comes in. The moment you can knock and it will be open to you, if you knock hard enough, break open that door, well, you'll be in a different state of existence. Not physically. We're not talking about a physical existence. Physically, you will keep on being what you are. But you have become a god. Yes. So, how long did it take for you to become a doctor? You made your own rules. You went through certain disciplines and then you made your own rules. So, Vedanta also is like that. Follow certain disciplines. And what are the disciplines? One must become aware of the real and the unreal. It's called Nitya Anitya Vastu Vivek. What is real and what is unreal? What is transitory? One must have a clear idea. You should not be deluded. You should not run after kind of things which will take you a long way and then ditch you. What happened? Oh, there. And then your actions will have to become not calculating. It's called Iha Amutra Phala Bhoga. You should not calculate if I do this, if I harm that person, or if I tell a lie, if I do. These kind of calculations should never come. Be transparent, be open. And don't seek for results. Be spontaneous. A child is extremely spontaneous, transparent. It's a beautiful state of existence. It's only by the time the child is 9 or 10 years old, then that ego starts crystallizing and then all the trouble starts. Ami morile jutive jonjal. When the I dies, all troubles end. So, that if you can become transparent, spontaneous, there's nothing like that. Yeah. So, then, and the third is, there has to become some degree of control. You just cannot do what you want. That's a state of an idiot. So, knowledge, the moment you become wise, you start behaving like that. That's what I'm saying. And why shouldn't we behave like wise people? All the wisdom of the universe is within us. So, that should guide us. And we should have the desire to be free. There was a time when one day I was telling my friend, saying, it's so difficult, I said, I don't think I'll be able to do it this time. I'll have to come back again. Are you sure you're going to come back again? There is a guarantee that you will come back immediately? There's no. The population of the world is going up and up. How much is 8 billion? 8 point, how much?
8.2.
Or something like that. And everybody is doing family planning. So you'll have to stand in a long queue. Be careful. Finish it off now only. Not waiting. So, you have all the time in the world actually for this. Have that as a goal, that I will be free in this very life. And then you see how everything orients. You will not waste your energy, you will not waste your time. Everything will become precious. whatever you do becomes precious to you, becomes worthy of you. And everyone else also become equally precious in your eyes. So, yeah.
Maharaj, thank you. My question is that in Vedanta, how do you distinguish spirituality and religion? And number two, what is you mentioned mysticism the other day, grace and mysticism.
I never said about grace, I never said about mysticism.
Mysticism.
I
mean, is there a role in
religion
Vedanta?
And spirituality, we don't separate, Vedanta does not separate religion from spirituality.
And the last question is that our work, if we don't plan, if we don't want to achieve something, the goal, then how do we know what is the consequence or the result? And of course, we don't want the rewards, but we have to work.
Yeah, you plan as much as you want to, that I will do this, I will do that. Vedanta will find, in fact, you'll be able to fine-tune all your plans in a perfect way. It's not that we don't plan, we also plan. You plan, but see that you do not injure or hurt anybody by thought, word, or deed. Let that be the guiding principle of your planning. You plan work is, and ultimately, what kind of work are you doing? How many people, great emperors, great kings have come and they've tried to conquer the world, change the world. You see, what plans are you using? Kind of, we are playing with those, sand on the seashore. What plans are you doing? In fact, one verse in Vedanta says, even greater beings who, when they opened their eyes, this world was created, and when they closed their eyes, this world was destroyed. Such persons have come and gone. Yes, the Brahmas. Kva dhanani mahipatam brahmana kva jagantiva. It's a long progression of the best of people and the worst of people have come and have gone. The world is there as it is. Many people thought they will bring the changes in the world and they will change the world. See what happens after they die. Even when they are alive, things go out of hand. So, you do it with a kind of sense of humility. That I'm not doing something kind of remarkable. It's just to help me fix my mind, to be organized, do it. But let me tell you that, see, whenever you do something from a higher state of mind or consciousness, that remains a kind of a permanent in the world. The world cannot destroy it. Everything done on a higher level of consciousness remains permanent. In these books of Vedanta, the Bibles and the Qurans, they have been spoken from a high level of consciousness. And that's why it's kind of semi-permanent in this world. For thousands of years, they are still there. While you and me talk and do such things, and the world simply wipes it out. It wipes off your existence. So, if you have to plan, you have to do something, do it from a high level of consciousness. See and see that work becomes a kind of permanent. We are planning and planning and planning. Whole life has gone planning, and with the end of life, I'm still planning. I'm planning how to go. Yeah. So, raise your consciousness, plan, and see that work kind of becomes tenacious. It holds on to this world. And people will know you. Even if you give $1 million to that some charitable organization, they will, who's that guy? So, if you have to leave a mark, leave a mark, but do it in a better way. Okay. Jayanta, the gentleman. Okay.
Swamiji, in context of Vedanta's implication and application, can I take the example for Rishi Aurobindo when he was in exile? He always touched the Gita, the scriptural holy book, or Vedanta is one of the part, and Swami Vivekananda recited him, delivered how to understand. And that Vedanta's application, can I?
That is not application.
That is it true that
in
we
a
can
way,
take that
I'll tell you what was the basis of, there was a kind of a revolution in the sense of, not in the American sense of revolutionary. There was a group of people who were kind of what you call today as terrorists. They were trying to, throw the British out and get some freedom, political freedom. So he was one of them, and he was caught and he was put in a kind of prison, and he and his brother, Barin. So there in the prison, a kind of a solitary confinement. There in the prison, what happened was he continuously got visions of Swami Vivekananda for 14 days. And Vivekananda taught him how to practice Raj Yoga. So he started practicing Raj Yoga. And as he was practicing, there were changes taking place. Like the prison doctor used to just come and glance if everything is okay. He come and then he started exchanging some pleasantries with them. How are you? How are you? How are things? Then the jailer also, the guards also, they used to come and look at him. Do you want anything? He said, do you have enough food? People started approaching him, talking to him. And then there were those guards also who used to open the cell and go and sit down with him and chat with him for hours. What was happening? As he was practicing yoga, his heart was opening up. As his heart was opening up, people around were kind of being drawn to him. So that is what actually, if you say that this is the practical side of Vedanta, yes. So you practice your meditation and yoga as your heart center opens up, people will be drawn to you. Yeah, you don't have to do anything much. Yeah, Gita is okay. Yeah, Sri Ramakrishna, he never allowed too many books. He's saying, what's a sign of knowledge? You don't have even one book. You need a book. All the knowledge is within you. But then he said, you can keep a Gita. Swami Vivekananda says, it's good to get out of my body, to throw off like a disused garment, but I will not cease to work. I will inspire men everywhere till the world will know it is one with God. So the spirit of Vivekananda is still there. Whenever we try to do something good, people say, there's a concept of a guardian angel. Is all these guardian angels real? Well, in a way. The moment you start doing good, the power to good increases. And that God of truth itself will protect you. Nobody can harm you. The moment you tell lies, you're false, you're this, you will be attacked from all sides. The moment people they say, oh, if you speak the truth, you suffer. Well, the God of truth himself or herself will come and protect you. And it's not just a kind of a story. It is true. It is that spirit that comes and protects you. when you stand for truth and stand for life, stand for the higher, you can say, living. So you are not left out on your own. You're always protected. That's why Draupadi says in the Mahabharata, Dharma rakshati rakshata. If you protect religion, religion will protect you. If you protect truth, truth will protect you. That's the idea.
So does it mean like you are now anyway, actually you are always being protected?
Yes, yes.
In the world or
Yes, yes, yes. You just take this.
so does it mean you are always protected?
Oh, yes. You are always protected. You stand for truth and stand for God, your life will be protected. You will be protected. Nothing will destroy you. Yes.
One more question. What is the purpose of Maya?
The very question why or what does not arise. So, you see, the Maya in a brief makes the impossible possible and the possible impossible. Okay. Now, we say, what has created this universe? It's through the power of Maya. Okay? This universe has been created through the power of Maya. Okay? And then that is on the cosmic level. That is Mula Vidya and Tula Vidya. That is, there is another individual aspect of Maya which kind of veils you, veils the truth, and makes you think, I am so and so. When you are supposed to say, I am that Atman. So there are the two aspects of the cosmic and the individual. They are both linked, of course. But then, what is Maya? Maya, that which is not there. Ma-ya. Ma is no, ya. That which is not there. You search for it and it's not found. Sri Ramakrishna gives the example. The moment there was a brother and sister, and the brother put on a mask of a kind of a tiger, and he was frightening the sister, and she screamed. And when she screamed, he pulls off the mask. Oh, then she recognizes him. Oh, it's like that. When you can recognize it, it will no longer. So we actually, in a way, we are all masked. No? We have put on different masks. When we go out on the street, we put on a different mask. When we are in the office, we put on a different mask. We are all masked people. Masking everything. So when you can recognize yourself, you will not have to put on your mask. Then you are free. So there are various explanations and this and that. There's another explanation. It binds you like a kind of a silkworm in the cocoon, and then that bondage is kind of a protection for you. You develop inside, and then you break open that cocoon and come out. It reveals Brahman. Don't be frightened of it. Don't be frightened of Maya. So in this age, that Mahamaya, that great Maya, has come as... Yes, she has come as this Holy Mother. So the best way is to pray. Oh Mother, do not delude me with your world bewitching Maya. And see how it... You got everything easy on a platter, actually. And that's what they come. So you pray to her, Mother, I don't want to be deluded with your world bewitching Maya. Yeah, fine, okay. And she has the key to liberation. That's another thing. Swami Brahmananda, yeah. She has the key to your liberation. So she is the key to your life. Pray to her. Oh, there it is.
Pranam Swamiji, thank you so much for your talk. So you had mentioned that letting go is the essence of Vedanta. So how can you do your duty while letting go of things?
Oh yeah, in fact, you will be doing your duty perfectly when you let go your selfishness, your egotism, your hurt, your anger, all the old memories. We become very judgmental about people. If that person has said something or done something, I put up a wall up. And forever and ever, I've stamped that person. This is the most horrible person in the whole world. There. So let go all these kind of judgmental attitudes, the stamping of people. And you see, and one will lead to the other. Letting go is letting go of your smaller self, that egotistical self. So you can stop here now, because I don't want